What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you step by step what you need to do this year in 2021 to start your debt-free journey. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lo, and my husband and I are working on paying off over $300,000 of student loan debt. Last year was our first year of our debt-free journey and we absolutely crushed it. We started out last year with $369,000 of debt, and by the end of the year we had paid that down to just above $307,000. So I know firsthand exactly what it takes to get your debt paid off, and today I'm going to share with you all the steps that we took in the order that we took them to get started on our debt-free journey. Step number one is arguably the most important step, and that is believing it is possible. You need to quiet that voice in the back of your head saying that you can't do this, that it's not possible, that only other people get out of debt. You need to shut that voice up, ignore it, turn it off, tell it to go away, and start telling yourself this is possible. You can do this, you can become debt-free, you can get your debt paid off, you can live the life of your dreams, you can have everything you wanted. Start using that language with yourself, because if you don't do that, none of this is gonna work. You need to believe in yourself. That's something you're gonna need to tell yourself all the way along your journey, but especially at the beginning, before you have any results that you can look back on to say, hey, I am doing this. It's really, really important. Next, if you're not doing this already, it's an absolute must, and that is to track your income and expenses. So if you are not budgeting, then you need to pull out your bank statements from previous months or track it going forward if you use mostly cash and so you can't really rely on your bank statements, and you need to figure out what all of your income is and what all of your expenses are. You can do it any way that makes sense to you. We use a spreadsheet, but if you just want to get a piece of paper, pull it out, draw a line down the middle, and in the left column write income, in the right column write expenses, and just as income comes in throughout the month, write down everything that you receive for income or money coming in, and then in the expenses column write down everything that you have for expenses. And I mean everything: mortgage or rent, food, utilities, clothes, anything you spend throughout the month. Every single dollar, you have to track it to at least get a baseline. If you're already budgeting and you already do this, great, you're ahead of the game. But if you haven't ever done this before, you need to do it. I would say do it at least for one complete month from start to finish. And what you want to do is at the end of your first month, you add up your income column and you add up your expenses column. You subtract those two numbers and you see if you have a positive number. If your income coming in is less than your expenses going out, then you've got a problem. And that is likely why you're having some problems with your debt. You are spending more than you bring in. And figuring this out is a hard truth, a hard realization to come to, but it's so important to know if you are cash flow positive or not in order to figure out what sort of progress you could make on your debt payoff. So for us, we had been tracking that and we knew we were cash flow negative. Daycare costs kicked in when I went back to work after my daughter was born, and that put us underwater. The income coming in was less than the money going out, and we knew that it just wasn't sustainable and we needed to make a change. Now, even if your income coming in is more than your expenses going out, doesn't mean that you are doing well financially. You might only be a little bit positive at the end of the month, and that doesn't leave any extra for debt payoff. But I think the key with budgeting is to understand that it is a learning process that evolves over time. As you do more and more budgeting, you learn to get better at it and you learn more that works for you. So the key is with budgeting is just to start, because you're not gonna be perfect or great at it right away. We have been budgeting for years and we are still learning and tweaking what we do. So we're always getting better, we're always figuring out a way to track our money better and more efficiently and do what makes more sense for us, for me and my husband. We both are two different people that learn different ways and process numbers different ways, so finding something that works for both of us has been a process too. But we could not have had the success we've had this year in our debt-free journey without a solid budget. Now, you may feel like you don't have enough money or income coming in to be successful on your debt-free journey, but I guarantee you, if you cannot learn to master a budget, then it doesn't matter what amount of money you have, you will not have an easy time managing your money and managing your day-to-day expenses. Just to show you guys a clear example of how more money doesn't necessarily solve your financial problems, about 70% of people who win the lottery go bankrupt within a few years. So if you're not good at managing money and then you throw $1 million in your bank account, you're not going to be any better at managing money just because you have more of it. and clearly that's shown with this statistic. So I would really argue that budgeting is a skill that you have to master in your life if you want to be successful financially. So the next step, especially if you are bringing in less money than you are spending, is to get right side up. And if you're cash flow positive, you're bringing in more money than you're spending, the goal here is to increase that amount that's left over at the end of the month. Because the way you're gonna get ahead on your debt is by bringing in significantly more than you're spending every month and putting the difference towards your debt. So there's two ways to improve the situation. One is to spend less, and two is to make more money. First of all, for spending less, there's only so much room for improvement in this category. Some people, you may already feel like you're at the bare bones, like bottom of what you can spend, but for most people, this is not the case. I thought we were at our bare bones budget for what we could spend, and turns out there was so much that we could cut and so much we could improve on. And I'm not gonna get into all the details in this video of how you can cut down your expenses. There's so many videos out there on that, and I will talk about it more in future videos. Actually, I have a video coming out soon about how to decrease some of your monthly expenses, so watch for that. But in general, you need to take a look, see what you can cut out, what you can save money on, and cut that budget down as much as possible, as much as you're comfortable with. So like I said, decreasing expenses is an important one, especially if you have a spending problem or a shopping problem. But you can only go so far with that. Where there's really a lot more room for progress is increasing your income. Because if you increase your income, then you're obviously gonna have more money to work with to pay off all of your debts. So how do you increase your income? There's so many ways to increase your income. You could ask for a raise at the current job you're at, or try to work overtime, or look for other income opportunities at your job that you have already. You can get a second job. There's so many ways to get a second job these days that can be really flexible if you wanna, drive for Uber or deliver food for DoorDash or grocery delivery for Instacart. You could just pick up hours here and there. Or if you want to try to work from home and just, make a little money here or there, there's tons of side hustles that you can pick up just working from home with a computer or from your phone on the internet. There's a lot of opportunities out there. There's tons of videos here on YouTube talking about side hustles, and so again, I'm not going to go into the details of all the things you can do, but just know that increasing your income is the best way to speed up your debt payoff process. Okay, so we've written down all of our income, we've written down all of our expenses, we know if we're cash flow positive, if we're not, we've made efforts to cut those expenses and increase the income. Now what? Now we have this extra money in our budget, and what do we do? The next step is to write down all of your debt. So you need to know what the balance is, what the interest rate is, and what the minimum payment is on all of your debt. So again, take a piece of paper or open Google Sheets and make a spreadsheet and put it all down in writing and actually take a look at it. This was such a hard step for us because our debts were so large. I just wanted to ignore it. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to make our payments and make the minimum payments and just hope that it all worked out. But to get out of debt, you have to be intentional with your money, you have to be organized, and you have to be willing to look at your situation and take charge of it. People don't just fall into financial success, they have to make it happen. So write down all your debts, figure out, what the minimum payments are, and then the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're making all the minimum payments, and so you are current on your debts. You don't want to get behind because it hurts your credit score, you're gonna accrue late fees and interest and all that stuff, and it's just gonna cost you more in the long run. So making sure you are gonna get current on all your debts is the first thing that you wanna do with all that extra money. Once you've gotten current, the next thing is not to use that extra money to pay off more debt, but is to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is such a critical part of a successful debt payoff journey because part of the reason some people went into debt, including us, is because we had unexpected emergency expenses come up and we did not have any cash to pay for them. So it just went on a credit card, and then we end up paying more for it because you're paying that 20% interest or whatever your credit card interest rate is, and it just creates more of a problem. So starting with a basic emergency fund is so important and something you want to do before you start any debt payoff. That's what we did next, and I think it's such a critical piece of this debt payoff process. So how much of an emergency fund really is up to you. There's Dave Ramsey who says a $1,000 emergency fund is sufficient. For us, that just didn't feel like enough, so we built our emergency fund up to $3,000 before we started throwing a lot of money at debt, and we built that up more and more and more over time. And so now our emergency fund is at about 2 to 3 months of expenses. Do what works for you, but I would say at least $1,000. $3,000 would be more preferable, but at least $1,000 to $3,000 to start in your emergency fund. After you've gotten to that point, that is when you can finally start throwing money at debt. And what you're gonna wanna do is throw all your extra money at your debt, everything. And I am meaning everything. You get a raise, you put that difference towards debt. You get a bonus, you put that difference towards debt. You get money for Christmas, for your birthday. You get a tax refund, you get a stimulus check. I don't care where the money comes from. None of it is extra money. That's how we used to think about it. Oh, here's extra money. Now I can just spend this for fun. No, if you're in debt, all that extra money is not extra because you're paying interest on all of your debts. And so you need to throw every single dollar at your debt. If you want some money for yourself to play around with, that comes from your budget. You put it in your budget, and that is the amount of money that you get every single month to play around with. If you get any extra money in, that is not play money, that is debt payoff money. And using that extra money that comes in is where you're really gonna see the difference in progress. After you know what you need for the month to pay all your bills, if you throw all your extra income plus any raises, bonuses, tax refunds, cash back from, rewards points, all of that, you're gonna see something really exciting happen, which is you're gonna make progress on your debt and your total debt number is going to go down. Next, in order to stay motivated during your debt payoff process, you need to track your progress. Now, I post videos every single month talking about our debt payoff progress, and that is super motivating for me and keeps me really accountable to you guys. And so that is something that I do in order to track our progress. And I also have a spreadsheet that I put all the numbers into so I can see each month how much we've paid off, what the difference is from the prior month, what the difference is for the year, and see what percent of our debt has been paid off and all of that stuff. I'm actually going to have my spreadsheet that I use for our debt payoff available for purchase in my Etsy shop. And so by the time you're watching this video, it either will be available or available shortly. And so if it's available, you'll see the link in the description box. It will be up at the end of January 2021. So when you're watching this video, if it's not available, it will be available very shortly. But that debt payoff spreadsheet has been a critical tool in tracking our debt payoff and keeping us motivated by seeing our progress month to month. I know a lot of people don't start their debt-free journey because they feel like they don't want to sacrifice. They feel like they don't want to give up things in their youth for this future older person that they're going to be one day. And let me tell you, the further we get into our debt-free journey, the less I feel like I'm sacrificing. The more I feel like I'm figuring out what I really value, what really makes me happy, and putting our money towards that, and then putting the rest towards our future, whether it's retirement accounts or debt payoff. But I don't feel like I'm being deprived of anything I want. I feel like I'm actually being freed of the pressures from society to buy all these things that I'm being told will make me happy that won't actually make me happy. And I'm not saying there won't be sacrifices, there will be. Honestly, the biggest thing that I feel like I'm giving up now during our debt-free journey is my time. I'm spending more time working, I'm spending more time, cleaning and doing things that I could pay other people to do, but I'm not because I'm putting that money towards debt. And time is the most valuable resource that we cannot get back. But I'm doing it so that in the future I have all the time, so I can do everything I want with my time and spend it with my family and enjoy my life and not be burdened by this debt hanging over my head forever. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this step-by-step walkthrough of all the things you need to do to start your debt-free journey today. If you're watching this video and you have debt, then I'm so excited for you. I know you can do this. I want you to get started. I want to see you succeed, and I want us to pay off our debt together. So I hope you take these tips and you feel motivated to use them and get started. There's no time like the present. If you start your debt-free journey today, then 1 month or 1 year from now, you'll look back and you'll be that much further ahead than where you were today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps out my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this or follow our debt payoff journey, then make sure you hit that red subscribe button. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and I will see you guys soon in my next video. Bye.